Awesome. So we are here today as music producers, as recording artists, as creatives, representing Fan Frequency Productions, both co-founders of Fan Frequency. My name's Lanisha. I'm here with Jonathan.
AKA J Ed and Fan Frequency Productions. We empower music producers and music artists, creatives in the music space to build streams of income and find viable careers.
So we're just gonna answer a couple of questions in this magic bowl, a couple of topics, really, not questions. But let's get started. So, first topic, competitiveness as a creative.
So it's like, are you competitive as a creative?
However you want to take it.
Are you competitive as a creative?
Yes and no. I think that I'm competitive with myself. I don't think I'm competitive with others because I'm better than everybody else. So there's nothing to compete with.
Okay. So what if someone comes up and they say, I'm better than you? They rap in your face. You don't have any bars like me, Nisha, and your beats are trash. And I'm streaming.
Why are they hating? Why are they hating?
I got 800,000 monthly streams on Spotify.
First of all,
you walk away.
Why are you coming to me?
They just performed at an open mic and you were coming up before them and they saw you and was like decided.
And they just felt the need to say all that?
Yeah.
You have mental problems. That's got nothing to do with me.
Let's be real. You're not going to feel competitive with them. I'm just asking.
I'm just saying, if someone randomly came up to me that I didn't know, and they were like, I have 800,000 listeners, and your beats are trash, and your bars are trash, and I'm better than you, and then walks off, realistically, I'm like, what is this person on? I'm sorry, what would you do?
I'm not the one saying I'm not competitive. I'm very competitive.
But I'm saying, what would you do in that situation where this is a random person who you don't have anything with?
I'd say, all right, bro, you got it. I'd store it away and I would hit the booth with that fire motivating me. I'm competitive as an artist. I don't let that consume me. I'm not making music just to be the best. That's not what's inspired me to do this. But I am competitive, and that's with people that I see just in my same space, and that's with people not in my space. You know, Tyler, the Creator, drops his album. Kendrick Lamar drops his album. I'm listening to it, enjoying it for what it is, and also thinking, oh man, this is good. There's like a small part of me that's like, man, I gotta go back to what I'm doing, because is it this good?
But is that competitiveness, or is that you just got inspired?
For me, it's competitiveness. It's that person might be a little better than me, and that doesn't sit well with me. Yeah. So, but I've been like that. That's games. It's not just a music thing, but it unfortunately carries itself to the music. But again, I don't let that I can acknowledge that, and it's not like I can't work with people. I can't be proud of people or support people. I'm jealous of you on raps often. You give me a song, and I'll hear the verse, and I'll be like, oh man, it's good. I don't hate on you. I don't want you to be successful. I do. But everything in some way to me is a bit of a competition. But I think there's I'm learning to have that be more of a healthy thing than negative.
Yeah, I would say if anything, people probably inspire me to do better. It doesn't feel like I'm competing because in that same way, with a Kendrick or a Tyler, I know that I'm gonna take pieces of it. It's a learning moment and make it my own, and it's still gonna be completely in my own lane. I couldn't replicate them or anyone if I tried. So I think, in that I feel inspired, but I don't feel competitive.
It's very politically correct, and I don't even know.
It's not.
I just don't compete with people. But
fine. I don't. I'm literally the best. I've literally had people tell me that I'm their favorite rapper.
Okay. How many people have told you that?
2 people have told me that.
Okay. So,
but
I'm sure a lot more people have told them.
Oh, I'm sure, but I haven't even remotely even seen where the location of my prime is. That's just me being me. That's not even me fully embodied yet. I'm still on people's top hundreds on their Spotify list or whatever, just because.
Confidence is important. That's another thing. You know, you're talking about competitiveness as an artist. So you're not competitive. I am. I think there's pros and cons. Confidence.
I'm very confident as
Confidence
an
as an artist. How important is that?
For me,
For any artist.
I think it's super important. I think, like, there's, like, the phrase, like, fake it till you make it, and I told someone that one time, and they were like...
Sorry, I'm just going to set the timer on the questions so we can, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I told somebody that one time, and they were like, that's not true. Don't fake it till you make it. Just, like, be real with yourself. And I say, nah, like, I feel like I was able to build confidence, and I'm not confident in everything, but I was able to build confidence off of the music by pretending to be confident. And now I'm in this space, I feel like, where musically, I don't feel inferior at all. Mm-hmm. There are places I want to grow, but like,
so you're confident. I think that's the most important thing for artists is confidence, because you're gonna have to believe it long before anybody else does. Because it's a long road, and I think a lot of things you'll make, they might not. You just really got to believe in your stuff, because people can see when you don't. I think someone's doing a show or something. If you're not really sure, if you're not even feeling the song yourself, how you expect other people to?
I think that's the most embarrassing thing ever, is to see someone perform who's not confident in themselves. That's just like, I get secondhand embarrassment from watching it. Mm-hmm. And it's different. Like, I've always performed, so I do have that in my back pocket. But literally, that's the most embarrassing thing to watch, is somebody who's not confident.
So where you feel that confidence comes from? Like, where, if somebody's watching this and they're like, I'm doing a music thing, I'm starting to, but, I don't feel like my stuff is that great yet. Maybe I believe it can be, but, I don't have that confidence. Is it over for them? They're not musicians? They shouldn't pursue this career?
It's over for them.
So you always been that confident even when you just started?
No, I didn't. But I do believe, like I said, fake it till you make it. And another way to think about that is, like, literally you have to become an actor. It's not about you anymore. It's about whatever your brand is, whatever your persona is, whoever that person is that hits the stage, whether it's your real name or not. And it's about being good at being that person.
So you said, okay. So
and if you can't get out of that, then, like, it's over for you.
But is it over from the jump? So kids in the program, Fan Frequency, do you have any kids who don't have that confidence and you're like, it's over for you? Or
if you're not willing to put yourself out there in a confident way, if you're not willing to separate yourself as a person and your feelings as a person as an artist, it's over for you. Because you will never, like, as a human being, like, I have a decent amount of confidence. Like, there's a lot of things that I get really embarrassed about for myself. But that has nothing to do with my artist identity. And if there's resistance to separate those two things, it's over for you.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Like, you're literally, your success depends on how bad people feel for you.
Well, let me say, I think, and what I was getting at is, you're born with it or not. I think that that some of the confidence comes from the repetition and the talent. You build that confidence. I don't think Michael Jordan, one of the most confident players, Kobe Bryant, they had like a way about expressing that people got behind or people didn't like. Some people call it arrogant or whatever, but it was like, I genuinely believe I'm the best because I am the best, but I didn't just wake up like that. I put in the hours. I outworked you. I'm better than you because I outworked you. And I know that there's nothing you can do that I haven't already done myself. And I think, like, they weren't necessarily born with that. Or they might have been. I think some people are, but I think some people, it comes from, like, boom, this happened. All right, I'm going to put in the work. So now I know I'm the greatest.
I agree. And I, disagree. And to say that, like, there's, like, nuance. I think they were born with the ability to do hard things and be confident in that. Mm-hmm. Right? Because, like you said, it is that repetition that grew their talent and their grown talent is what created the balloon of confidence, right? Because you've seen time and time again, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. But I'm talking about the literal resistance to believe in the power of that repetition.
So you just don't think you can do it. So if somebody's struggling with their confidence now as a music artist, and they're not at that level now where I'm the best in their city, what would you say to them? What kind of advice would you give them to do better?
It's okay to suck. Like, it's okay to be the worst in the city. That's absolutely fine. Like, and that has no bearing on your confidence and has no bearing on where you're going or your future talent or anything. Like, it's okay to make mistakes, and as cheesy as it sounds. But what it's not okay is to not try. That's bummy behavior.
So keep trying. I would say the same thing. Like the confidence is gonna come from putting yourself out there. If you're scared and don't take the step, confidence isn't gonna grow. But get in the battle, make the beat, send it out, do the open mics, do the things. Or just, if you're working on it into the craft until you've made something where it's like, I'm proud of that. I'm really proud of that. But if the confidence isn't there, it's not just gonna arrive. I guess there's many other ways it can arrive. Like you can have a realization, but yeah, I think deep down there is somewhere that I can be the best. All right. Let's hit the next question. We got 48 seconds on that one. Any final thoughts about, or any other thoughts about?
I mean, the question was about
competitiveness.
competitiveness.
Oh, competitiveness.
As a creative. I just think, like, you can definitely, I think that where a lot of people fall in the trap of not being confident is because they are too competitive with other folks. So that stops them, like, oh, I can never be so-and-so, so therefore, why should I even try? And I think that's, like, for me, like, before you look outward, like, you need to focus on yourself and focus on creating your product and perfecting your craft and outdoing yourself, because you can't really outdo anybody because they don't have what you got.
They're not that good. Nobody out here is that good at the end of the day. What you got is special, and yeah, you might as well make it, because if you look around, these people are all right.
There's a lot of mediocrity.
People are all right. All right. Branding.
What's that? That's the topic.
Branding. How important is branding?
I mean, as a creative and as an artist, I think that it is important to understand how people perceive you and to understand how it is that you want to be perceived and making the changes accordingly. Because that's going to determine at the end of the day who you are speaking to. And if you don't know who you are speaking to, then you're really just kind of taking stabs in the dark. And it's possible. It's possible.
What goes into your brand?
Everything.
And what is that? How you dress, how you speak?
Everything. How you dress, how you speak, just anything that's forward-facing, surface level, how you present yourself. And then if you want to get deeper, it's the how you work, right? So certain artists may present themselves as like super rock stars or whatever, and then behind the scenes as a brand, they have trouble getting gigs or holding gigs because their work ethic, in that way is known as unreliable. They are an unreliable brand. So really, I say your brand is anything that requires other people to perceive you. That all goes into your brand.
We've worked with people before, visual artists, music artists, who weren't professional in terms of like not responding to email. Email response time is part of your brand, I think. But you didn't respond, or you want revisions and it's just like really hard to get in contact. You might not work with that person again. That type of interaction doesn't make me inspired to work with you again. And that's your brand. It's not as outward facing as how you wear your hair, or if you always, wear, muscle shirts or something, or like you're always doing backflips. Like that's your brand too. But for people who aren't the consumers necessarily, like other artists and other people you work with, that those work habits and professionalism can also be your brand.
And I think it's just anything that anybody's gonna say about you. Like, for example, if you have, I don't know, the cheapest prices in the city, right? And someone's like, oh, I was thinking about working with person A or person B. I might be like, oh, well, so-and-so has the cheapest prices, so you should definitely hit them up. That's something that people are saying about you. Or if you are that person that continuously drops the ball and misses deadlines, then, like, you know, if your name comes up, I'm going to say, oh, like, I don't know about working with them. If you work with them, make sure that you have, you know, a 6-month lead time, because you never know when they're going to get back to you. So it's really like, what are people going to say behind your back? That's your brand.
What advice would you give to aspiring music producer or artist around their brand right now? I'm 17 years old, starting my career. What 3 things? Do I need a brand? Do I need to figure out my brand? Like,
if you're starting out and you're a music artist or a music producer, I would focus primarily on your product. So whether that is the production, whether that is the lyricism, whether that is high quality recording, focus on your product first, because your product, right, is a huge part of your marketing. And whether or not it is solid, right, that becomes part of your brand. So the second thing I would focus on is consistency / reliability. And what that would mean to me as someone who's starting out is, do not say yes to something that you are not 1000% sure that you're going to do. And I think that there is a level of just excitedness and newness around everything, that you want to do everything. Just don't.
it's important to say no, know your limitations.
Yeah.
So there's 2 things. Focus on your craft, the product, and know your limitations. And don't be afraid to say no to opportunities and such. Okay.
And then the last thing I would say is communication. No one's going to get mad at you for saying no to something, but they will get mad at you for not responding, or they will feel some type of way for not responding. So I would assume that as a brand, you'd want to be, you know, the person that communicates well. And if not, that's perfectly fine. But what do you want to be?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, similar. I would say is, like, whatever your brand is, you're figuring that out, because you know, you don't have to have it solid. And people rebrand all the time, but the individuality, I think the uniqueness to whatever your brand is, like, I think it's important to try to have it stand out. Like, what is different about my brand than other people? And that's probably something just about you that is unique. And it might be hard. People think, oh, there's nothing unique about me, but you know, you might have to do some work. Like, the branding is a work thing. But yeah, I think highlighting that is important.
Yeah, and I think there's like exercises and stuff that you can do to get specific on that. I think you'll have
Like
a
what?
better idea.
Because we can pull the link up here if you just say it, what it is.
Oh yeah.
Is it Lame's analysis?
Sure, you can do a Lame's analysis. You can do, it's basically a SWOT analysis. It's what companies do: your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. Jesse, I forget his last name, but
Cannon, I think.
Jesse Cannon.
What's it? Lore, aspirations,
misperceptions, exploits, and the S stands for strengths.
I don't know. It might even just be lame. I don't know. Well, we'll.
I think the
edit
S
out and
stands for
fix
strengths,
that.
but yeah, you know, you can do that. I think ultimately the easiest thing that I tell people to do is just to go around to your friends, your family members, people who know you, and just be like, hey, what's your favorite thing about me? What's something that you don't like about me? What's something that I can work on? Because literally that's what a brand is just other people's perceptions of you. So you already know what you're working with.
I think it's study other people. Study these people who have really Charlie XXX with the green, the bright green, like that brand was very strong for the summer. So I think some of it, yeah, is like what people tell you, but also what are you excited about and how can you stand out? You don't have to have that all figured out when you're starting out.
But working on your product is going to help you figure that stuff out.
I'm gonna push these down to 3 minutes. We got 5.
All right. So how do you manage your time as a multi-hyphenate?
Let's do another one.
Okay.
I think we probably have time for 2. I definitely want to hit the engineering.
AI and music.
AI and music. Okay.
So what do you think about it? Where do you think it's going? Is it good? Is it bad?
I think it's crazy. AI's been in music for a while. As a producer, I use isotope plugins. They have like AI will sense in the resonances when EQing out a vocal. These resonances are spiking and it'll automatically kind of tell you where it thinks you should do it. You can put 2 instruments together and the AI will kind of like say this is where the frequencies are clashing and it'll cut one out. So AI already exists in music in the ways that I think this question is speaking about, like, oh, is AI gonna make the music? I think there's space for that. I think for these companies who, I think sync is a big thing where there can be a lot of generic songs and people are getting paid to do that now. And I think AI can probably do a good job at making some of those things. But as far as big time artists, I think there'll be that market. We have the funny songs, but it's just AI's struggles in ways. Like if you use AI to, even do what it's supposed to be super strong at, like write something creatively, the AI art, like to me, it has a very AI feel, which doesn't feel human. So I think for artists, it's going to be very important to be more human and really embrace those things, again, that make you human and put that into your art. Because the AI is just taking human models and making something. So it can never really replicate you. So I do think as time goes on, people are going to gravitate even more towards like the super unique artists and even like cringy things, things that feel very human.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think AI has obviously the potential to get closer and closer to humanness. My one thing about AI that I quote unquote worry about is just the average person not being privy to what AI is and how it works and how frequently it shows up, especially on like the Internet of Things. So when we talk about, the older generation or our parents and stuff like that, like they get fooled by AI all the time. They think that stuff is real. Even I will be on YouTube and I'll be like, I don't know, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, and 4 other, I don't know, artists made a song and a music video together, only to click on it and be like, oh, this is AI. Whereas, like, at least I understand that. Whereas, like, folks who don't know what's going on, because it's not really super publicized unless you're finding it,
Yeah.
they can just be easily fooled.
Yeah. And I guess the thing, like, as artists, we should care because if they're fooled at the bottom line, oh, maybe we're missing out on money. Like, I'm guessing that's, like, around that question, like, how do we see? Because a lot of times people talk about AI as a threat. I saw a commercial that I think Adidas did with all AI actors, and people were like, oh, we're cooked. People who are, who act and get a lot of that work. Which, yeah, maybe that's the case where the world will go in that direction. It just, to me, it seems unlikely. And one thing that's probably for sure, people who don't dip into AI at all could be at a disadvantage. I think the tools for like music can be helpful. I think it's good. Even Splice, like when you're picking samples, they got like an AI thing that'll say, oh, we think these samples will work. Never is great, but it'll help spark an idea. AI can do a lot of things on the engineering even side that like, okay, I got to manually back in the day pick all of these clips and line them up a certain way. Where it's like, now I can press the button and AI will do that part. So now I can just pick the best parts from each clip. So like there's ways to use it that the top engineers and top producers are going to utilize those things to help shorten their workflow. And I think it's just going to, the people who are using it, it'll help the best artists get better and help eliminate some of those barriers. I don't see it as a threat yet because I just don't think that it's good at being creative. AI, artificial intelligence, I think is good at facts, but I don't think it's great at being creative.
I think that it's going to eliminate, I think it has the potentiality to eliminate some jobs, right? Because you don't need as many personnel.
Right.
And I think, when it comes to writing, when it comes to acting, I think that's definitely a threat, even when it comes to like not lower level, but like, sync music and stuff like that. I think there's a threat, and I think that there needs to be regulation behind it if you want to continue to use human capital for these things.
Cool. Let's see what we got.
It's just that you don't know how to open it.
Okay. Do you ever have to make music when you're not inspired? And this comes up through, working with our cohort. Sometimes some feedback we've heard is, I haven't made something this week. I'm supposed to make something every week. I didn't make anything this week. I'm struggling with inspiration. I wasn't inspired. Does that happen to you? Do you make music when you're not inspired?
I got a million things to do, so there are other reasons why I wouldn't be making music, but I feel like as someone who produces, as someone who writes, as someone who records, and I'm saying as a creative, right? As someone who edits, as someone who, there's never, not something to do. If I'm not inspired to write, I'm probably inspired to produce or motivated at the very least. Or there could be a video that I could be editing, or there could be something that I could be planning. For me, the concept of sitting down and not having anything to do is just I haven't experienced that in
a long time.
I couldn't tell you the last time I experienced that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. It's because we're doing so much of the producing, the mixing, the engineering, the writing, the videos. It's always, you might feel tapped of creativity and be like, all right, I don't love this idea. So you're right, let me move on to something else, because it almost seems like there's just not enough time. If you're struggling with inspiration, I would say take a step away, because a lot of times, if I've been doing it for a long time in that cycle, I'll be inspired by the ideas I had formerly. But if I step away, I'll just hear a song in the car and be like, oh, that, I want to put that in here. See a movie, I think stepping away could be helpful if uninspired. But I agree. I haven't really sat down and been uninspired for a while. I would say in that case, from a production standpoint, just listen to a song you like and try to remake it.
Yeah.
Try to remake a song, because in that process, that might spark the inspiration.
Yeah, I think setting goals for yourself and being motivated is probably more important, as many people say, than being inspired. There are times where I've been like, oh, I'm going to make 2 beats a day or whatever. And it's I didn't really have any inspiration in my mind. And maybe the first beat was trash. But the second one was actually pretty good because I got that trash beat out the way. So.
I think discipline is better than inspiration.
Yeah.
Because inspiration might come and go, but you still gotta, if you're trying to do this full time, you're still gonna need to make these beats.
And I would and I would also just encourage people to do things other than maybe find another lane too, to be able to help support the production or help support the writing and recording, or
try to not make it, even though it can be a job and it's a job, you don't want it to feel like a job.
Yeah.
And so having those multiple things, if you're sitting out every day, it might start to feel like a job. It might for some people. I think some people do that every day and it doesn't feel like a job. But keep it exciting.
Yeah. How much does the mix matter to you?
How much does it matter to you?
Incredibly.
Okay.
How much does it matter to you?
Yeah, man. I mean, to me, the engineering, now that I engineer my own tracks as well, it's an art. I've never, maybe once I've done the route of sending it to someone and they sent back a clean mix and it was like, oh, wow, it sounds clean. But the whole task of, you want somebody mixing it who sees it as an art, I think. They're gonna mix the sounds in a way that there's a focus here, there's a focus there, like even telling a story with the mix. And I think most people approach it that way, but I think some people, if they're just getting your track, they didn't really sit down and talk to you about how should it feel. They can just make a clean mix. And I think that's overrated. You can be skilled at it, but I think having the engineer approach it with you as this is the next step of the art process.
I think the clean mix to the point of AI, right, that can be replicated pretty soon by AI, right? So that kind of like rinse and repeat model of, I don't want to say bottom level, but it's really like the entry point, I think can easily be taken over. For me, it's really important, especially you as my engineer, I have access to you. So like to have that conversation back and forth of no, I want it to be more like this, want it to be more like that, and not even necessarily needing to stay in the confines of the industry standard because I'm too concerned with the actual way that the art sounds. And I think it makes it different.
I think as the engineer, it could be a slippery slope too, because it's like if you're doing this, you've got so many clients, you're trying to get, you get paid by a song. Like we're mixing a track together, there might be 50 revisions on the vocal. And that's because, all right, I got it clean. No, I want this part to be a little dirtier. Okay, well, I thought that this, and it's even sort of figuring out, because you're the client, you're the artist, and I have my own vision as the engineer. I think when you're doing it like that, the downside is it can take longer to mix the tracks. And you're not going to probably be able to mix 20 songs a week if you're approaching it like that, which I think is why a lot of engineers, so listen to the engineer's mix. You get someone to engineer a track, listen to other mixes they made, and really be clear about what you want, because otherwise, by default, what I'm going to do is make a clean mix, probably. You didn't tell me this needs to be grungy, this is the feel, here's a song to reference. So unless I'm really invested in the track and the art like that, probably not going to take that time.
And I think it's really important that artist-engineer relationship, like for those who are making it, they have their engineer. They're not just letting anybody engineer, specifically their vocals.
Yeah, that's the reason for that.
Yeah, so I think it's difficult as an engineer maybe to juggle a lot of clients. But if you have that one client that you're, down to like do the work with, I think the payoff can be really great if you both are dedicated to the craft of music in that way.
Yeah, and if you're not doing it, I think that's a great team. If you're an artist, if you're a producer, if you're an engineer, have the two others. If you got a team, you got an artist, you got a producer and an engineer, y'all do stuff together, because you're going to learn more like how you can complement each other's sound. And that consistency is important. There's a reason these artists take their engineers everywhere. Anybody could turn a mic on and mix a track, but like I need you because after this time we've invested, you get the vision. From a producer, I think it's good to have that working relationship, or people who can kind of do a little of all that.
Well, no, you've done too much, and I want to answer this question.
What's that?
The mental health.
All right, well, put it in and pull it out so we can like cut it at least.
Well, you're the one who's pulling things out and not. All right. So,
all
right. So, mental health for creatives. How do you handle your mental health? Is handling your mental health important?
I think it's definitely important. How important? It's hard to say. I think it's something that you should prioritize. That said, I feel like a lot of great art has been made from people in a state of having poor mental health.
Yeah. I
Which
think specifically if you are just a recording artist, and I don't know how great this is because we are in a state of mental health awareness and all that stuff. But if you're specifically a recording artist, like,
what are you about to say?
I feel like, a lot of great music is made from a state of poor mental health. It's not great. And it's sad, but for whatever reason, we consume that and we love it.
maybe it's you need to prioritize your mental health. But if you're experiencing those challenges, get it down. Maybe seek out the help, do the things. I think as an artist, you get consumed with the art, and it's important to take breaks. It's important to do stuff outside of that. That's good for my mental health. Resting, making sure you're getting sleep, good diet, exercise. That would be my advice in that way. But the big thing is, I started making music when I was stressed out and depressed, and just didn't know. It was the one thing I could do that I wasn't thinking about everything else. Like while I'm making a beat, the only thing I can think about is how is this chord progression going to go with these drums? Or I'm DJing, how am I going to mix into this next track? Everything else kind of goes in the background. So I think artists, like writers, those tracks are made because they're good at putting all of that on the paper. And hopefully they get the help outside of it. But
Yeah, I mean, I think mental health is important for your safety and viability and, ability to interact with others and be kind to yourself for sure. I think that routine stuff is even more so. Not saying that more people's mental health are more important than the others, but like for, producers, engineers, people who are doing the background work or whatever, who have a lot of things to do. Outside of, the experiencing life and the writing about it, or the experiencing the life and the telling of it, I think just to keep your business afloat, you need to be on top of all the things that you just said for sure.
yeah,
But if your job is solely like someone tells you be here, be there, and, you sing or you rap or whatever, I do think that there's a little bit more of a scale of which it can slide without it interrupting your business.
yeah.
That's just my thoughts.
If you're having mental health, if you're having challenges, well, I don't know. I can't say that, but there's a good chance that probably you'd be good at creating things, because if you're able to put that, channel that energy into a song or a beat or a painting or whatever it may be. It's a real human emotions. Do we have any other questions? I think we're at time. We should wrap it up.
Yeah. Yeah, let's
Cool.
go.